Good morning, Dubai. How are you doing? Happy Wednesday. Welcome back to the Lovin Daily, where we take you through the top trending stories that everyone in Dubai is talking about. Today is Wednesday. It's also Saudi National Day. Happy Saudi National Day, 90 years, which is incredible. Our sister site, Lovin Saudi, is celebrating that. So many celebrations on the ground happening in Saudi. If you want to check out our page, Lovin Saudi, on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. Wherever you find us, you'll find them. We're going to be talking about our top stories, which is, of course, press briefing last night, taking us through all of the latest COVID-19 UAE updates. And there are actually quite a lot of positives to come from that in the last 2 months. We're going to be taking you through that. Also, if you're an IPL fan, stay through until the end of the show. We're joined by Red Bull Emirati Indian cricketer Chirag Suri, talking all the latest IPL, how it's happening in the UAE, why it's happening in the UAE, and why it's massive news for cricket fans and all sports fans who are looking for something very fun to watch this summer. But our first story that we're going to take you through, the UAE reports COVID cases and mortality rates have dropped this summer. So as always, Tuesday is press briefing day, and from all the figures we've reported over the last 2 months, there are actually some positives to gain from it, which we're really excited to bring you. The UAE ranked first in the number of tests per capita during the months of July and August 2020, which is fantastic. August saw more than 2 million lab tests nationwide, which is huge. This is actually the 8th highest in the world. And on a positive note, the total cases have reduced by 21% during the months of July and August. And also, the mortality rate has decreased by 5.7% during the months of July and August. So we are bringing you every single day. We're reporting the numbers in the last couple of days. Let me just check. Let's say, for example, in the last 24 hours, reported 852 new cases. New recoveries were at 939. So recoveries in the last 3 days are actually exceeding the new cases. And as you know, tests are going up. So we've had over 90,000 tests. One day this week, we had over 100,000 tests. So this is why we're kind of seeing cases rise. But overall, in July and August, there has been a dip. So there are some positives there. But of course, globally, we are seeing kind of a new wave coming. And as we get into the winter months, we need to kind of take these numbers with a pinch of salt, continue our social distancing. Along with that, at the press briefing yesterday, the government said these figures recorded are the outcome of the commitment and awareness of our society, and it is important to maintain these national gains. They also commented, I think this is really worth noting, the purpose for those 14 days isolation. They say the incubation period, as you know, can be between 2 and 14 days, making it necessary for travellers and first contacts to isolate. And what's really interesting here is they said that symptoms begin between 4 to 5 days usually, while symptoms are delayed for the elderly and those with chronic diseases. Were you aware of that, Shai, by the way? That symptoms are delayed if you're elderly, so you might pick it up on day 1, but if you're elderly or with chronic diseases, it's more likely that it's going to not show for beyond that 4 to 5 days.
So it's not going to show up in the first 45 days?
Well, they just said you're more likely to display symptoms later if you're elderly with chronic diseases, so they're not likely to, the symptoms will take longer to show, which is just a little bit worrying, and I think it's kind of worth noting if you're kind of maybe have someone in your home who is elderly or with chronic diseases. Yeah. I'm just thinking of my mum and your mum in this situation. It's just going to take a little bit longer. So if you're young, you're more likely to show symptoms sooner, basically.
But for us, 12 to 14 days?
Well, maximum 14 days. Right. So hence the 14 days. It could be from day 2, but maximum 14 days. So that's why they brought in that rule that if you come into contact with someone who's tested positive or you're traveling into the UAE, you need to isolate for 14 days. Now, I know we just went through a lot of numbers there. That is all from the UAE press government briefing last night. They do it every Tuesday. If you want to check those latest numbers, do check it out on Lovin Dubai. But we'll bring you into our next story. Guys, many Abu Dhabi students won't be going back to school next week. Abu Dhabi students grade 6 and above who were originally planned to resume classes next week will actually continue distance learning. And this decision that they won't rejoin classes has been made, of course, in their health and best and safety at heart. So, however, pupils in grades 9 to 12 who are sitting international exams, they do have the option to attend classes. But I just kind of feel this is really heartbreaking for students where like all these changes happening, schools reopening, and they really thought that grade 6 and above would be going. So if you're grade 6, what age is that, by the way? Is it like 12?
12?
I did a totally different system. Year 7, so I think it's 12 and 13. So basically, you're going into high school. I call that secondary school.
Yeah, secondary school is from class 7.
So yeah, class 7. They have obviously not been in campus for 6 to 7 months since March. They must have been super excited at the thought of going back to their friends. So in Abu Dhabi, they're not able to. Of course, it's with their best interests at heart, but it's just it's a tricky time for them.
If you were in class 6, What would you do?
If I was in class 6, I would Zoom my friends and be like, "This sucks. The virus is annoying. Can it please go away so I can see you guys again?"
Or just Zoom call.
Or just Zoom call. The Zoom party's over, Chai.
That's
We're really feeling for grade 6 students and above, but of course, obviously, the international, if you are studying for international exams, you have the option to go back in. Now, this is only in Abu Dhabi, and obviously, we have strict measures rolling out there by ADEC, and anything Cage Day updated, there's no updates from there, but if they come through, we'll let you guys know. Guys, after the break, we're going to take a quick break. We're discussing everything IPL with Chirag Suri. It's going to take 30 to 60 seconds set up. If you're interested in the IPL, if you've been watching it, or if you want to know more, stay tuned for that. And we're going to be live in shortly. And we are back, guys. The UAE is IPL crazy, and today on the show we're discussing the latest IPL updates with Emirati cricketer and Red Bull athlete Chirag Suri, the only ever UAE cricketer to play in the IPL. How does that work? Welcome to the show, by the way.
Thank
Good
you
morning.
very much. Yeah, good morning. So I had an opportunity in 2017, when the IPL was here for a shorter amount of time, and I remember there were some elections back in India, so they had to move part of the season to Dubai. And then, we got an opportunity to play against these teams, and I happened to do really well in those games. And never looked back. A couple of the scouts, brought me into one of the squads. I was in part of the Gujarat Lions in the IPL, and it's a dream to be involved in such a tournament. And now it's coming back to the UAE, and I think what's more exciting than this?
100%. The fact that it's in the UAE is fantastic, but just give our viewers, in case they don't know, what is the IPL and why is it fantastic that it's here?
So the IPL is like the mecca of cricket right now. This is the biggest cricketing event in an annual calendar for all over the world. The best players of the world. This is like the Champions League of football. This is like you're gonna have like Real Madrid versus Barcelona. This is the kind of rivalries we have. Chennai Super Kings versus Mumbai Indians. That was the opener, the first game of the season. That was in Abu Dhabi. Now we had a couple of games in Dubai. So it's super exciting, and everybody. I think not only in the UAE, because all over the world we've been craving live cricket, because we haven't had any live cricket in the last 6-7 months. So
any sports nearly.
Any sport. So you see like broadcasting numbers going they're crazy. They're amazing. The people so excited. Finally they're getting to watch some cricket, getting to watch some live sports. So I think what could be better than this?
100%. And I see it on Twitter. I see the buzz is absolutely massive. All of the players have landed in Dubai. They're tweeting about it. They're talking about it. And the views, and even that alone is insane. But why is it in the UAE this year? It's usually in India. It's been in the UAE before.
Yeah.
Why is it back?
So basically, India, with the COVID situation right now, they're trying to take, a lot of precautions as well. But because of the sheer amount of population that these countries have, it's not easy to host a tournament of this stature, right now. So obviously, they looked at alternatives, and, the way that the UAE's handled the situation, and, with COVID, it was decreasing so well, and, everything's so under control over here. And, we're still in the studio, we're back to work. I think some of the states back in India are still in lockdown, because they can't physically be at work, because, they're interacting with so many people on a daily and everything. So, so they obviously locked in the UAE, and I think we've done a great job so far. I think they're staying on all the beachfront hotels. I don't think they're feeling any COVID over here in the UAE, because you see their Instagram and stuff, they're really enjoying, some of them have got their families in. But obviously, very tight security. We're having no spectators in the stadiums. They're in a very, very tight bio bubble. One of my mates, I was telling, he was playing in IPL, and he said, I need a pair of shorts. And then, obviously I couldn't physically go meet him or anything like that. So, I sent him a pair of shorts, and then even those shorts were like in isolation for like 48 hours, sanitized and everything, and then given to him. So, we're taking all the precautions in the UAE, and I think that's why, we've had such a smooth start to the tournament. The buzz is amazing. We've had a couple of nail-biting games. Like nail-biting, this is like a tie, and then there's like a penalty shootout. So it's called the super over. So we've already had a super over, and in like the second game of the tournament in Dubai. So I mean, what more can you ask for as a cricket fan?
Okay, so talk to us about nail-biting games. If I didn't know about the IPL, who should I be watching? Who are the best players to look out for? Who are the best teams to look out for? Can you say that, or is it controversial?
I think it's a bit controversial. I mean, everybody has their own best teams and their favorite players, so
Yeah.
I wouldn't comment on that too much. But I think definitely, the Chennai Super Kings, Mumbai Indians, Kolkata Knight Riders. I'm from Delhi, so the Delhi Capitals is my, I'm watching that team, and I think I'm rooting for them this year because I feel they have a very good team, depending on the situation and the conditions. In cricket, the conditions really matter.
Okay.
Whether it's the wicket, the batting pitch, or the grounds, and the weather as well. We have to take into account the weather. So the younger, fitter teams are the ones who are going to get through, especially because obviously the weather is going to get better, and it's already getting better in the evenings. But I mean, it's the breeze is beautiful now in the
Yeah.
evenings, but still, to cope up with these heat for 2.5, 3 months, the guys have to put in big shifts. So I think it's going to be exciting to see who really triumphs, because initially it's going to be still getting used to it. And I know I've had a couple of calls with the guys, and they're like, yeah, it's going to take us time to get used to this heat. But I told them, I said, you can't really get used to this. You just have to live with it. You'll come back after the game, you'll really have to do like some ice baths and things like that. But their recovery's in place. They're in nice beachfront properties in Palm Jumeirah and whatnot. So I think they're having a good time.
They're not doing too bad.
Yeah, they're not doing too bad. Yeah.
And how does it work with the team? So I know before you played with the Gujarat Lions.
Yeah.
How does it work? You mentioned something about drafting, which
Yes.
to me sounds like something in the NBA.
Yes.
So is it a new draft every year, or how does that work?
So obviously there's a couple of the players which the teams can retain. So these are like the marquee players. So maybe like they'll keep their captain, they'll keep their best
Okay.
bowler, they'll keep a couple of. So you're allowed to retain like I think four players, and then the rest of the players are back into the draft. So you bid for them. So every team has a purse of say $50 million or $60 million.
Oh wow.
Something like that, and then you get a squad of 20-25 players together. You bid for them. So some of the players start bidding at like 20 lakh rupees, which is around how much is that? It's going to be around $25,000, and then they've gone to about $1 million.
Wow.
You know,
Okay.
so it really depends on how you've done, before the IPL. A lot of the franchises maybe say you want the players, well, I want the player, and then we go into a bidding war.
Mhm.
So I mean, it's quite interesting actually. I was part of a draft as well. I was like, somebody bid for me,
Wow,
and then
I'm sure.
yeah, and then it was my whole family watching, and then we were like, we started watching at 10 in the morning, and then my number was at 2 in the afternoon. So we were watching, and then finally my number comes up, and then I see one bid. I was like, yes, and then it was very emotional as well for the family, of course, because when you play sport, there's a lot of sacrifices that you
Absolutely,
make,
yeah.
and it's not only yourself, but it's your family around you, your friends, and there's contribution of everyone around you, the support system that you have. So I think it's definitely an amazing feeling when you're rewarded for that hard work and perseverance. So I think being in the IPL was the highlight of my career, and would love to be part of such tournaments in the future.
I'm sure I
Definitely.
can't even imagine wearing that jersey for the first time and your family
Yeah.
watching. How proud that must have been. That's amazing. Let's talk about yesterday. So we've had 3 nights of matches so far. I know Chai is a fan, and you were watching Chennai versus Rajasthan
Yes.
Last night.
last night. So people who are fans, tell us the most recent excitement and what's coming up. What's the future?
So obviously we have no fans in the stadiums right now, right?
This is interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, so what's going on is that they have these screens in the grounds as well, and then you can see a couple of the fans, and they try to emulate a sort of an atmosphere. So there's like loud cheering, whenever there's like speakers, like yeah. So they're trying to emulate as much as they can, because cricketers in general, especially when the games were in India, and even when they came to UAE, right? There's 30-40,000 people saying your name. Just imagine as a player, like what goes through, because I've been in that position as well. The pressure with those people watching you and all that, it's very difficult to emulate that. But when you speak to players and you see your own views, these guys are just playing because they love the game. It doesn't matter whether 30,000 or 40,000 or 100,000 people are watching them while they're playing. They still want to do their best because they know what they stand for. They know what their levels are at. So it's obviously been a little bit different in terms of when they hit a six or they get a wicket, they're like, yeah. They're like really pumped, and then they look around the stadium, and then there's no one
Really?
there.
Can you see
Yeah,
that?
yeah, you can feel it, and he's doing a celebration, but like, who's he doing the celebration for? Maybe the camera.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's interesting. We've had a super over. So super over is basically like a tie game, right? So it was Delhi versus who was it? I think Delhi versus. What was the first game? It was
The second game.
second
Delhi,
game.
IPL.
Kings
Third.
11 Punjab. So it was Delhi versus Kings 11 Punjab, and then Delhi batted first, and they put a good score on board. It got 150 odd, and then Punjab needed 1 run in 2 balls, and they lost 2 wickets. So they needed only 1 run in 2 balls, and both the balls there was a wicket.
Okay.
So that's like very rare, like super rare. Like the chances of that happening is like
Wow.
point. I don't know how. I don't even know if it's even a 0.1% chance.
Okay.
So you can imagine the people going like crazy. Even while watching at home, we were like off our sofa seats. Like what is happening? So I think the way it started, and then obviously Delhi took clinched the victory. Also, one of our Red Bull fellow athletes, Kagiso Rabada, superb and death bowling. He took the 2 wickets and boom, 2 runs they needed, and they wiped them off. And so it's very interesting to see. Yesterday in the night, obviously the game was in Sharjah, and then Chennai versus Rajasthan, and then Rajasthan obviously batted first, and they got about 215 runs, and Chennai got 200 odd. So we're seeing really good games of cricket. Like people enjoy watching the game because there's a lot of runs being scored, there's a lot of excitement, and yeah, I think the intensity of these players, you watch them, they're like itching to play. They haven't had cricket for 6-7 months. You'd imagine that they're gonna like slowly ease into it, but there's nothing like that.
Amazing.
They're like straight in. They really want to like get involved and really show, because this is the opportunity for all these guys. They've been waiting for it since April, and they're like training, and you see these videos on Instagram and everything, because in India they weren't even allowed to practice, so they got to the UAE and they've practiced and stuff, getting back into the groove. So it's really, really good to see that.
Well, exactly. It's so good to hear that the players have been excited, and now for the spectators, for the fans, it's actually living up to expectations, and it's running until November.
Yes.
So the finals are on is it November 24?
November first week, I think.
November first week. Okay, so guys, that is our latest updates of the IPL. Thank you so much, Chirag, Suri, for joining us.
Pleasure was mine.
And maybe you'll join us again for the end of the tournament. We'd love to get those updates, guys. That is the Lovin Daily. We're back with you every single weekday morning, same time, same place. Stay safe and wash your hands.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thanks, guys.
Bye-bye.
Guys, that is a wrap for the Lovin Daily. We are back same time, same place every weekday morning. And of course, don't miss the Lovin Show every Tuesday, where I chat with Dubai personalities. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and have a great day.